I know that Gary, who's producing today, probably wishes this was not topic A, but I think it's something to keep an eye on because there's always more going on behind the scenes than what meets the eye. And there's always trial balloons and PR plays and test markets and focus groups. And look, the Commanders changed their name, obviously, 5 years ago. The prior name was a dictionary-defined slur. The best argument made about the prior name of the franchise came from Charles Krauthammer, conservative commentator who made the case in an item for the Washington Post in 2013 that times change, language changes and evolves. Words that were once acceptable become unacceptable through the mere passage of time. And it was as simple as that. The prior name had become outdated. The prior name had become associated with something offensive. It's that simple. It's that simple. But nothing's ever quite that simple. And now that the name has been gone for 5 years, when the commander-in-chief has addressed it twice now, once in late April and again more forcefully on Sunday, I wouldn't have changed the name, the president said. And, implicit within that is the notion that maybe they should go back to that name. And he did make a salient point as it relates to the current name becoming better if they win. And I think the current name is better perceived now than it was a year ago because they made it to the NFC Championship, and they're now one of the short-list teams to make it to the Super Bowl in 2025. But, and this is why when he mentioned it back in April, we didn't cover it, but we're covering it now because what's happened since he mentioned it in late April? Number one, a deal was struck between the Commanders and DC Mayor Muriel Bowser to put a new stadium at the site of the old RFK facility. Number two, the DC Council has been dragging their feet as it relates to the very important process of approving that deal. As the deal was negotiated, July 15 is the deadline to get the deal approved by the DC Council to keep it on track for a stadium opening in 2030. They're not going to get it finalized by July 15. They're having public hearings on the issue July 29 and 30. That alone tells us they're probably not going to approve it by July 15 if they're not having public hearings until 2 weeks after. Then they go on recess until the middle of September. Well, they're not going to meet that deadline. So one of the things that came up last week, at a time when the Commanders had a dinner for the members of the DC Council at an upscale Georgetown restaurant, the DC Council Chair Phil Mendelson acknowledged that there's talk that maybe the Commanders, who are frustrated by the delays, will go to the most powerful man in the country, who happens to reside in DC, who happens to be the one who said yesterday they shouldn't have changed their name. And so the question becomes, and look, everything in politics is give and take. What are you going to do for me? What do you want me to do for you? What can I get out of you? What do you expect me to do? How else can you get it? How important is this thing that you want me to do? If the Commanders go to him hat in hand, trying to get him to get this deal done, and he has some things he wants, possibly including changing the name back to what it was, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? And I know Josh Harris, the owner of the team, has said they're not going back to the old name. Well, his predecessor once said, never will the name change, and you can put it in all caps. Never. 7 years later, the name changed. So, look, it's kind of quaint to think that there was a time in America where what you said mattered, and what you said was basically in concrete and never changing. People change their minds all the time now. What you said yesterday, if it no longer fits with what it is you're trying to do, you abandon it. You walk away from it. You do something completely different. It's just the way it is now. I'm not saying I like it. I'm just acknowledging reality. So the reality of the situation, if the Commanders do indeed go to the president to try to get him to get the DC Council to approve the deal or to come up with some other way to fund the stadium through taxpayer money, I know that doesn't necessarily mesh with the whole, we're cutting back on excessive spending. But hey, if he comes out of the process with a stadium named after him, And also, if he's able to declare to the members of the base, most of whom would want the old name, I'm sorry, it's not a political commentary, it's a political fact, then maybe that's what he wants. And by the way, the story I wrote today about it was as basic, simple, down the middle, meat and potatoes as it could be. And of course, within 5 minutes, I got a stick to sports email. And let me just say something about that. To anyone out there who is inclined to tell those of us in the media who have actual platforms that we've earned over time, we don't just fall into these jobs. It's the product of a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of desire and drive. Most of the people who rise to the level that they have a massive platform in the media space are type A personalities. Do you really think telling us to stick to sports is going to work? Have you ever considered that, the stick to sports crowd? Whether it's the athletes or whether it's the people in prominent media positions, what do you think we're going to do when you say stick to sports? Do you think we're going to go like Eddie Murphy in Raw? Okay. And walk away? Okay. Because you said so, because you asked nicely, or because you didn't ask nicely, we're gonna stick to, I mean, it's a waste of your time. And if anything, for anybody else out there that's anything like me, and I've tried to explain this to people, the more you tell me not to do something, the more determined I am to do it. And yes, it is deep-seated. And yes, it's probably evidence of one or more personality flaws or disorders. I don't care. It's who I am. I'm fully formed now. I ain't changing. You tell me not to do something, damn it, I'm going to do it just to show you that I can. All right, so stick to sports. Stick to sports. This is sports. The name of a sports team is sports, people. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.